our week 4 Clemson helmet stickers. So the way we're going to do this is you're going to give us 3 helmet stickers, and I'm going to give you my 3 helmet stickers that we feel like were outstanding play from the players on the Clemson sideline or on the Clemson side. And then we have a special $2 bill award. You know how when you go to a away game, you give away a $2 bill to the restaurant in the area or something like that, stamped with a tiger paw on it? Well, with our opposing teams, we're going to give the best player from our opposing team a $2 bill. I was going to have my $2 bill and show it, but it's like framed next to my national championship ticket, so I might have to get a hammer and bust it out. But just know that I have a $2 bill just looking at me right now. But anyway, so Al, who were your big Clemson helmet sticker winners or earners for the Charlotte game?
Well, I got to tell you, I wasn't super impressed with any one particular person in this game. There was a lot of playing time to go around. Obviously we broke the record, with 111 players played. So I didn't really single out anybody in particular as far as this guy's got to be on the list. But when I was really kind of breaking it down and looking at it, my first one went to Len Jay Dixon. Okay. We all know my affinity for Len Jay Dixon and how good he is, but I think his leaping and flipping touchdown, by the way, deserves a helmet sticker on its own. All right. Regardless of what his other stats were, that's one of my favorite plays at the goal line. I think it's almost impossible to stop if you execute it well. I mean, the linebacker has to time it perfectly. Defensive lines really got to get their hands up and, stop you. It's a beautiful play, and he executed it very well. I just love to see it. You want to give how about you go and give yours, and then we'll kind of go back and forth.
All right, we'll go back and forth. I really love that play too. I was torn because, as me, I didn't go to the game. I was originally going to go to the game, then I decided not to go to the game. I know you get on to me about this, but you guys can have faith in Alan that he does go to the games. I like to watch the games from my couch, the best seat in the house, and get analysis from other experts, other than Sean McDonough. I think I don't like listening to him. But anyways, Len Jay Dixon touchdown was great, but I did have to fight with the Georgia-Notre Dame game. That was an exciting game to watch too. But for me, and we're going to give 3 stickers out. I wanted to give 3 stickers a sticker to Dabo Swinney for playing 111 Clemson players. I mean, I didn't even know they had 111 players. I think I heard somewhere that they have 113, so there was like 2 players. I think because they were injured, they didn't get a chance to play or get a snap, one of them being Justin Ross, I believe. But 111 players got to play for Clemson, and that's just amazing. It just talks about how important Dabo Swinney values playing time over individual statistics. A lot of people joke about Dabo Swinney being like Oprah. You get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car. It's kind of like that. You get to play, and you get to play, and you get to play. I think it's great, especially in games where what's the point of blowing out teams with your first string, especially when you're up by so much. You're covered the spread, and there's really no need to even put any more points up on the board. A lot of people, it's kind of like, you get ragged on for scoring too many points, beating up the little guy, right? But then if you don't score enough, why didn't you score enough? Why couldn't you beat up the little guy better than that, right? So there's no winning right in that situation. But I think Dabo definitely wins in his philosophy. We're definitely not going to get, well, I'm not going to say definitely, but Clemson fans, I think, have come to the realization that the Heisman Trophy is not going to happen under Dabo Swinney unless there's just a miraculous situation where there's another Deshaun Watson who just goes crazy. But even still, if he goes crazy, he's going to get put on the bench and let somebody else play and get their experience in as well. But so I've got the 111. I got Dabo Swinney given a sticker for playing so many players.
Yeah, that's an excellent one. Of course, I mean, obviously, you got to kind of go outside the box there. I'm good with that. Second on my list, I gave Isaiah Simmons a helmet sticker, and honestly, really, just because I think if he's not on this list, that it should be invalid. He's always making plays. He's always around the ball. He's really the one that kind of strikes fear into the enemy there. I really hope, that he can kind of make those plays, make a few, get out of the game, and kind of make way for Mike Jones and maybe somebody else to kind of get a little experience, because we're going to need that position going into next year. That's going to be a huge void if he does indeed go for the NFL this year, which I'm sure he will, because he seems to be climbing up the draft boards every day. Every game he plays, he's there. His athleticism and his speed, the scouts in the NFL are going to drool over that. So I'm hoping he can. I'm hoping he decides to be crazy and stick around, like Wilkins did. But you know what? I won't count on that for sure. But I did give him a helmet sticker for this week.
Well, he already could have left, I believe, right? And he decided to stay. He's amazing player, just all over the field. I believe that he's going to be an amazing player in the NFL. He's just got a little bit of everything. He's tall, so he can play back. He can play safety and coverage. He can come in and play linebacker and get to the outside. He gets there quick and he puts you in the dirt quick. And so he's just an amazing player. We're so blessed to have Isaiah Simmons and watch him play and just kill it every single play. For me, it was one that a lot of people are talking about. We talked about in the offseason, but that's Michael Dukes. He's a freshman. Dabo Swinney came out later on in his post-game press conference and saying, hey, if you're seeing these guys a lot right now, odds are they're not going to get redshirted. We definitely need them. They're talented enough to be on the field, and we're going to keep them on the field. Michael Dukes, I believe, falls in that category. He even mentioned Michael Dukes and Ches Malusi as those guys that would more than likely not get redshirted and be able to play because they need them for that depth. We were kind of bouncing back and forth whether or not Dukes would be redshirted or not. We felt like, Alan and I felt like in the preseason that Malusi wouldn't get redshirted because of depth alone. But now it looks like Dukes for sure is going to be there as well. So Dukes, that guy, he's really shifty. Man, that 24-yard touchdown run, his longest run of the night, the longest run for the team, was a really cool thing to watch. I'm glad to see another guy out there that's being successful, and I look forward to seeing what Michael Dukes has in store. We did a video on him over on our YouTube channel, a little recap and a preview of him, kind of looking at film from his high school days. And there's so many people going in and putting comments like, hey, I went to high school with the guy. He's just an outstanding guy, just a really great person and a great football player. I'm glad you guys have him on the team. So it's really exciting for Michael Dukes. So that's me. The third person for me, Al, I'm going to go ahead and jump real quick, is sure. Kayvon Wallace. He had a pick six for 66 yards for a touchdown. Kayvon has really been pretty consistent as well. You got to be really consistent when you bounce back and forth between Isaiah Simmons' positions, and they can spell each one of them and rotate there. So I'm giving a sticker. Michael Dukes, giving a sticker. Kayvon Wallace.
I'm good with that. I gave one to Landon Sanders, actually, and it's really because he's around the ball a couple of times, had a nice tackle in that game. I just continue to be impressed by how aggressively he plays. Like we talked about, I think we talked about this last week, actually. He kind of lacks the measurables a little bit. He's obviously on the shorter side, but he really likes to pack a punch when he hits you, and I love to see that. So, like I said, nobody really stood out to me in this game in particular, but the way he hits you, you take notice for sure. I think he can really grow out to be a really dependable player in the Brent Venables scheme back there, and he's really going to bring the pain, as you like to say.
Oh yeah, I watched some of video on Instagram where they were working out, and the dude is just jacked. He's kind of slim, lanky a little bit, but man, he's just got some giant chest, giant arms, and so I know he can really hit people. We've seen that. We've also done film review on him. We know he can hit people. If you're wondering who we're talking about, because we're talking about like true freshmen here. If you're wondering who we're talking about, just take a look at the guy. Looks like Troy Polamalu in orange. All right, that's who it was. He played a lot during Syracuse game, late in the game. He played a lot in the Charlotte game, so it's exciting to see him get some reps out there. I think he'll be definitely a very valuable player. I wasn't really thinking that I was thinking that those kind of guys were going to get redshirted more because there's a lot of depth at secondary. Do you think that he's going to get redshirted?
It really doesn't look like it. I really think, when you lose, Tanner Muse and you lose Kayvon Wallace next year, I mean, I think you got to get as many guys, reps as possible, kind of get them some experience, because you don't want to go into next year, obviously kind of lacking that experience. So I think they're going to get in a lot of these games. I don't think he's going to head for a red shirt.
All right. And so to Alan, do you have your third one?
That was my third.
Okay. So so Landon Sanders was your third one. Sorry about that. So the next one, the last thing we're going to do is a $2 bill.
Yep. And
basically that is the opponent, the best player for the opposing side. We're going to give them a $2 bill with a Tiger Paw stamp on it. And I'm going to go with Benny LeMay, who is the running back. We knew going into the game he was probably going to be their best player, and he did really well. He didn't get in the end zone, didn't score a touchdown, but Dabo talked about how well he could run, and he definitely had, I think he had over 80 yards, and I was really impressed by him being able to find some open lanes and try to make something out of it. Obviously, he's way overmatched when it comes to playing against Clemson's defense, but I think overall he did really well. And I agree with Dabo. I was kind of like, this guy's going to be an NFL player. He seems like he has the talent to be an NFL player. He just got to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Benny LeMay was obviously kind of the best player on their team, but for the sake of being the same, I went with Aaron Mcallister because he's the guy that got the muff punt from Will Sweeney. Okay, that set up the Charlotte's only touchdown of the game. So little shout out to that guy right there. Made a big play, got him in the end zone, had their fans all excited. You wouldn't know obviously because you weren't at the game, but those of us who were at the game heard the crowd cheering. The band was playing. They got real excited for that touchdown, and we was happy to see it.
I don't delete a lot of your comments on our podcast, but I will definitely delete that last bit there, Al. And what'd you think about Dabo Swinney? Did you see it from the field? Did you see Dabo Swinney getting on to his son there? I think he was a little reserved there. He didn't beat him up too bad, but he definitely gave him a talking to.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it. I actually, I went to the game with one of my boy Caleb from youth group, and we were watching the game. I said, man, he's about to get chewed out, and we were kind of got to talking and didn't actually see Sweeney blow up at him, but I'm sure it was a good talking to.